Hello, and welcome to the next episode of It's Your Time to Shine, a podcast about being a mom in a modern world. My name is Jaspreet, and with me is my friend Lisa Vora. Hey, Lisa.
Hey, Jess. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am awesome. Actually, I've never been more awesome than I am right now. I'm not really
my goodness.
I'm not really feeling awesome, actually, because I didn't sleep that well last night, but I'm still awesome today.
Aw. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like you're bubbling over with a story to tell us. So what's going on?
Well, I have two things. The first one, I went back to work.
Oh, my gosh.
I am no longer a stay-at-home mom.
Oh, wow.
The second one, which actually might be more important, is I have finally invented the super duper salad. Like, I have put all the greatest ingredients in one salad so that you know you're eating healthy.
Okay. I want to hear about both of those. I have to say, I don't think there's been so many breakthroughs in your life with me I took a week off. Mm-hmm. So no work, no social media, no talking to anyone really outside of the family. Mm-hmm. And I come back and you had two revolutionary moments. Maybe I need to turn my phone on during my social shutdowns. No, I want to hear about that because I am always struggling. You know about this. And I'm sure a lot of working moms, actually all moms and dads probably have a tough time coming up with healthy things to eat that my kids will like, rather than just rotating.
And that's why I was so excited, because I make it and Alyssa eats it, and it has kale in it, it has beans in it, it has chia seeds, quinoa, everything healthy for you is in that one salad.
That is so awesome. Give me the quick rundown. What's in it and how do you make it?
It's like a sweeter dressing, and that's probably the reason Alyssa likes it. But the biggest trick is to take the kale and chop it down so small that they don't even notice it. And then pear. So it's a pear salad. So I call it super duper salad because it has chia seeds. And the new thing is I added sunflower seeds. All right, this is getting boring, but it's really good. It's good.
It's not boring, but it sounds good.
We have a play date tonight, and we're trying to get them to bring the pizza. So we're like, if you bring pizza, I'll make my super duper salad. And of course, Alyssa, being the contrarian, is like, it's not super duper salad. It's salad. And I was like, no, it's super duper. And she goes, it's not super duper. And I'm like, you're not taking this away from me, Alyssa. It's super duper.
Oh my gosh, you're so hilarious. What constitutes super duper in her mind?
Probably mac and cheese, French fries, and ice cream.
If you were to put some cupcake sprinkles on them.
Exactly. She's just such a contrarian. Everything's just contrarian. Just whatever I'm saying, she's got to say the opposite. I'm sure this goes on forever. But she's like, so it can't be soup. And then I actually have another salad, which I call the super duper looper salad, because I've added avocados to that one.
The super duper looper salad.
So, I'm such a nerd. See, this is why I needed to go back to work so I could talk about something else.
That's all. That's funny. Okay, I want your recipe for the super duper looper pear salad. I love things with avocado in them. And then, okay, tell me about going back to work. How did this happen? I didn't even have an inkling that you were thinking about this. So
I literally fell into my laps. I have to say, I went back to my old place, Voice of America. I'm actually in this place right now where I cannot believe I'm back where I was, and they're treating me well, and the job is good, and it literally just fell into my laps. And that Friday, I was there.
So you've worked one day now?
I'm doing 1 day a week right now. I might go to 2 days a week. I'm getting a little too excited again. And I'm like, oh my God, I could do this. I could do that. This is where I need to remember that I left my job for a reason. It's to be with Alyssa. And I need to literally just go back proportionate to her schedule.
And I think I can hear the excitement in your voice. I think being a stay-at-home mom, we've talked a little bit about how it can be very difficult and you feel very isolated from the rest of the world. And so I think that's where work represents, well, for me, I'm talking about from my personal experience. For me, work represented a unique identity that I could have where I'm not a mom. Just having adult conversation is a big improvement on mental health.
That's exactly what I told someone at work last week. And I was like, it's just nice to walk around and be like, I'm Lisa Vora and I'm not Alyssa's mom, because I change. My behavior changes when I'm around my child because I measured on her behavior. You know, sometimes oh my God, her kid's so this,
Totally. Yeah. And then when you're a stay-at-home mom, a lot of the comments that I used to get, I don't know. I mean, I think times have changed a little bit too, but a lot of the comments that I used to get were like, well, oh yeah, you have time. You're a stay-at-home mom.
I don't know why people think that. You did the same thing. So you too were home and then went back to the workforce, right? So how was that for you?
I did it in a totally different way. Nothing fell in my lap. worked on my resume and interviewed for things for.
Oh, you took that route?
Yes, I did. And I was much lamer about it because when I went back,
Yeah.
I went back full time and it was very difficult. And I had to put my kids, all my two younger kids into preschool,
Oh,
and
yeah, I
that was
can
really
imagine.
tough. And that's why, I mean, I've talked about this before, and this is personality too. Like I had a lot
Right.
of guilt as a working mom because I didn't go part-time first. I think that makes a huge difference. And when I think back to when I had Bhavneet and
Yeah.
Amrik, just my first two, and I did some part-time, I did like
Right.
contracting gigs at that time. That's where you're like picking your time. And it was full-time when I was doing it, but it would be like 2 weeks work on this project,
Right.
3 weeks work on this project.
Yeah.
It's a much better way to do it. And the only reason I did it that way is because I was going to grad school as well. And so I was like grad school plus a little bit of extra money just to pay for books and things, right? Now I look back at it and I wish I would have done more, like let me be, when I had the 3 kids and when Hudgun, my youngest, was only 2 and I started working, I wish that I did part-time because the paradigm between being a stay-at-home mom and a working mom, like it's so different. Who your boss is different. How you structure your day is so different, and it's stressful and it ages you and makes you tired. So I think what you're doing is awesome. Like you're doing it slowly, it's your choice, and you've worked really hard your entire life to build up that creative
Aw.
expertise, and you kind of like have your reputation speaks for
Oh,
itself.
thanks.
So you've earned it. I think this is awesome. Like this is a great story.
You know what? I think it's because I'm older. We've talked about this before. I think if the same thing had happened 10 years ago, I would have been like, I want to go back. I want to go full time. And I'm not even saying that's the wrong decision. I just know that where I am today in my life, I value certain things that I didn't 10 years ago. Simple things like just more sleep. You know, simple things like just spending the time to make a healthy salad. I mean, jokes aside, right? But all of it takes time, and I'm not willing to give that up just to work more. And obviously,
Yeah.
first and foremost, time with my daughter, who's going to go to school full time in a year and some change. So, and I know this time won't come back. But the thing is, I know this because other people tell me that, hey, this time will not come back. Enjoy your time. And I'm like, you know what? I am going to enjoy my time. I'm not going to just listen to them and say the same thing to someone 10 years from now. I'm going to actually apply that. And part of an application is work fewer hours. I govern my own time.
No, totally. And I think you're right. And I was going to say it's not like I regret that, but I regret everything. You guys know that about me.
You have to as a mom.
Like I constantly like order something and I'm like, oh, I wish I regret ordering.
That's keeping it real, right? As a mom, you're going to regret. Hey, I'm the mom who doesn't regret a thing and my kids are absolutely perfect.
But I think, I think you're right. Experience is part of it. Knowing yourself
Right.
and knowing your
Yes.
limits, that's huge. And being able to really like make good decisions. Like when I went back to work and I started working, I went back to the life I had before I had kids, which, think about it, horrible idea. I worked as a consultant for 3 or 4
Right.
years, had to travel. My husband was a consultant. We had to balance a lot. We had a lot more of like he traveled, I traveled, and trying to figure out, what would, where we needed to
Right.
be and what would work for our family. That gave us some things that others don't have, and that took away some things that others don't have. Like I still say to this day, I probably had the only 3-year-olds that knew when I was on a conference call not to talk. Like a lot of kids just don't learn that.
It has a lot to do with you, just you, because they're going to listen to you. We're all scared of you,
Yeah.
Jess. We're all scared of you, okay? All right, I'm not going to beat around the bush.
Everybody knows like I like things orderly. No, but I remember Hudgun being 3 years old and she would say like, shh, mama's on a conference call. She couldn't say conference, but
Yeah.
she would say that. And so like the kids get exposed to that. But now as you get older, and I think times have changed too. Like not everyone works traditional jobs.
So many people work from home.
So many people work from home. Yeah. I used to work from home when I wasn't traveling. I don't work from
Right.
home anymore. I go into an office, but I think that there's so much more flexibility, now with some of these other, non-traditional things, kind of like, I was saying, like people have different jobs and you can do
Right.
freelance work. And I mean, I think that's the beauty of it. And the truth is, like, I tell my kids sometimes too. So this will tie together, but this will kind of might make you laugh. Like, my daughter was working on a project and she had to type up some facts about a city in Texas. And so rather than sitting on the computer and typing them out, she turns on, like on Windows 10, they have that as a virtual assistant. She turns on the virtual assistant and is talking to put it into Word. And I was like, just sit and type. And this is what she said to me. She says, Mama, the keyboard is all scrambled up. The letters aren't in the right order and I don't know how to use it. And she was like, this is better. And I said to her, like, you need to learn how to type. And you know what she said? She was like, why? And I had no answer. I totally got stumped by a 9-year-old.
I guess everything is now you can get voice activated. You can just talk.
I know. And I will tell you, like, normally I'm like ready to school my kids. I like sat there and I was like,
Yeah.
why? I'll tell you why. No, I won't tell you why. And I was like, okay, fine. I mean, she got it done, but I was like, the world is changing. The way they're going to work is changing.
No, it's true.
So I think it's awesome that you're working. I think it's awesome that you're choosing your days. And I hope you do get to do some of your creative stuff because you've done some like amazing videos and like produced some cool stuff. But I am wondering, I have to ask you a question. Now that you've done some videos on being a mom and parenting and you've done audio and now we've started this podcast, are the stories that you're going to work on, do you think they're going to change?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I don't think it's only because I'm a mom. It's just because I've grown so much since the last time I was there, 3 years ago, especially with what's happening in the world. My entire perspective has changed, and I've applied that to parenting. I want my child to basically not be ignorant. I want her to understand the world around her. I want her to understand what it means to live here in this country. And I think a lot of my stories are going to reflect that.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And I wasn't there 12 years ago when I first started at Voice of America. When I first started at Voice of America 12 years ago, I was just a really good editor, and I did pieces on coffee in New York City. So I think people will definitely see a difference in how I produce. No,
that's awesome. I'm just really excited that we'll get to see some more creative stuff that and some feel-good things from your work.
Yeah. I've always liked human stories, so I want to kind of put it all together. I have a bazillion ideas for them. I'm not even going to say it, but I just have a bazillion ideas.
Oh, cool. So, that's awesome.
Human, because I think that's where it's at. When you see video, you want to connect with your audience. So how do you do that?
Right.
Especially when you want people to really hear what's happening within their country, news and information that their own government's filtering.
Yeah.
You want to be able to reach them.
Totally. Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, so as you start this working mom journey, I want to hear more about how things go. Does Allie know you're going back to work, or are you just working on projects?
She does. She does. I said, Mommy's gone back to work, and she's excited, but she actually does. I was surprised because she doesn't say much. She's kind of quiet, but she doesn't act. Like when she's excited, she'll just be kind of quiet and wait for you to approach her. She's not the kid who'll just run to you. But I was surprised when I come home Friday. She's like, I missed you, Mommy. Can we please play Dollhouse? I'm like, oh. And then I was like, you want to come to Mommy's work? She goes, yeah. So I'm actually going to take her next week on a day I'm not working because I got to figure out a few things, just paperwork. Yeah. So I'm taking her, and I'm so excited to take her, and everyone's excited to see her. So,
oh, that's going to be fun.
I think she's going to have a lot of fun, and I think they're actually doing one of the shows that day, so I can take her to the studio and stuff. And this is so exciting because this is all stuff I thought I could never do with my kid because I thought I quit, and I'm just so happy again.
Oh, that's so awesome. I'm so glad.
It goes to show, though, I'm measuring my self-worth on my work. We'll talk about that some other day.
No, but I don't think it's a terrible thing. I mean, the title of our podcast is It's Your Time to Shine, so you're shining. This is like, we're done. We can stop the podcast now. No, I still need to shine, so let's do a couple more episodes.
Yeah, you are always shining, Jess. I can't keep up.
I'm actually not, but that's okay.
But I will tell you, I'm dressing better, and I don't even have to. That's it. I'm dressing better. I used to wear jeans and sweatshirts, and now I'm actually wearing nice clothes because I want to. I want to look nice. So
what's going on?
Like everyone. I know, but actually last week, because I wore Converse with my pants for Metro and I never changed them, and everyone's like, that's our girl, the Converse girl. I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep my Converse, but I'll wear nice clothes, nice pants on top. It's just my look.
Yeah.
Anyway.
There you go.
I had Converse at my wedding.
So. I know, you did. I remember that. Yeah. After midnight, the Converse come out. I think that's totally fine. I walk quite a bit at work too, and I have I switch out my shoes. I'm still keeping up the ruse of being put together, like have flats, and then when I get to my desk, I switch them because I want to be comfortable, but I also have a height complex. So for those of you who don't know, that's what's happening with Jaspreet.
But that's what makes you you. You're short. I'm short. We have short people personalities. People can tell we're short. I don't know. There's something. We have short voices.
That's so
anyway,
funny.
I don't even know what that means, but somehow you can tell we're short, and it's cool.
Yes.
We own it. We own our height and we own our age. And we can talk about age, by the way, in the next podcast, because I'm getting tired of people saying, I stopped counting after this age. Oh, I don't tell anyone. I'm like, let's own how old we are.
Yeah, it's not a big deal, people. How much you weigh on the scale, totally different story.
That's another story I would like to talk about us and our self-worth on weight.
Yeah, we can talk about it. I need to be about 10 pounds lighter before we have that conversation, so just give me about a month.
Oh, my God.
So the thing that I do want to say is, like, as you start working and you incorporate all of this, like being a stay-at-home mom, lessons and things that you did and like daily routines, and then switching to a working mom, like I want to hear more about that, because I feel like that's the thing, the transition between the two. You are experimenting in something that's new. Like what I did was stay-at-home mom and then working mom. And a lot of people do that. They're stay-at-home for their 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 6 months, whatever they take. And then boom, they go right to work, back to working. And it's really harsh. But maybe you're like introducing, maybe this will be like the way of the future, you know, like work 1 day a week, then work 2 days a week and slowly go back. It could give hope for a lot of the other new moms out there.
Yeah, I believe in transition. I believe in it. It might be an editor thing too, because when you edit and you don't have a transition, it doesn't look good. It's jarring, right?
Sure.
So I feel the same way about life. I believe you should keep components of your old life while you're going into the new life, and slowly dissolve into the new. It's always been my philosophy, or at least the last, 5-10 years.
Right.
Transition, smooth, just slowly. I can't do it otherwise. I can't do it. I mean, many people have to. I have to say one thing, because I've been going on about, time and this, and I'm going in slowly. I'm lucky to be in a position where I can do that. I don't have to work full time. So when people have to work full time, they just, for whatever reason, financial, then that's a whole different situation.
Totally.
So yeah. I'm just fortunate, and I thank the universe every day, and I'm like, what can I do? Just tell me what I got to do, universe. I'll do it. I just want to give back because, universe has been very kind.
Yeah. And I think, totally. We're very lucky. We're extremely fortunate to be in the situation to even be able to make the choices, and
Right. Exactly.
I remember it must have been like 10 years ago. I met someone he was actually like somehow related to my brother-in-law, but I met this guy. He was a gyaniji, which is like a someone who's basically devoted their life to singing sick hymns and like just understanding the scripture and things like that. And when I met him, it was early in the morning, and we were actually getting together just before we were about to do like a service. And so he met me and he asked me like what my name was and where I lived, and I told him, and then he looked at Bhavneet and he said, how old is she and what's her name? And she was probably 2 or 3 at the time. I said her name, Bhavneet Kaur, and she's 3. And he said, she has really great destiny. I'm translating from Punjabi. And
oh, wow.
And I said, oh, like it's just like a nice thing to say. And I'm going to say it in Punjabi as well. He said, Edi kismat badi changi hegi. And so some of our Punjabi Hindi speaking listeners will be able to understand that. But it basically means like she has a great destiny. And mom, of course, what mom wouldn't love to hear that, right? It's like a nice thing to say. And so I don't know why. This might have been considered rude, but I asked him why. It just came out.
I think I might have done the same thing. Yeah, because you actually want to know where he's coming from. Yeah.
And it's like not socially acceptable actually in Punjabi culture or in Indo culture to like an elder gives you a blessing. You don't really say why. You say thank you and rush away before they take it away. Right? but something moved me in the moment, and I said why. And he said to me, she's born in America in a place where she has value and she has worth. And had she been born in India, especially if she was born in India in my time, this man was probably in his 80s, late 80s at the time. He said had she been born in India, especially during my time, she would have no self-worth and she would be cast aside.
Wow.
And it just, oh my gosh, that hit me to the point that you can probably tell I'm choking up a little bit just thinking about it. But it hit me because Punjabi and all South Asian culture traditionally has had a gender bias, right, between men and women.
Yeah.
So for my first child, and for you, both of us, our first child being a daughter, sometimes you get some negative comments about that, right, from like people who are older, or who are really ingrained in Indian culture and Punjabi culture might make comments about having a girl and the self-worth of the mother to have birthed a girl versus birthing a boy. Right. Less common in America, but you still hear a little bit of it, right? And so for this wise man that I really respected, who's really deeply rooted in Sikh ideology and a Sikh way of life, for him to tell me that, I just felt really emotional about it. And the thing that really struck me was that, you know, now it's like the Me Too movement. We have International Day of the Woman, and it's time for women to rise. It's a rise, you know, like there's a rising going on. Yeah, and I always think to myself, like, the relativity is important. Like where we are today, some might say, you know, our children might one day look at us and think, oh my gosh, you got the right to vote in the 60s and 70s. Like you gave people the right to own land in the 60s and 70s. Like what was wrong with you guys? But relative to what the oppression of women, the tradition of oppressing women over time, like we've come a long way and we're really lucky.
Right.
And so that perspective, just like as we start to think about what a woman can do, what's possible for them, and like what you're doing, making choices, still being able to prioritize your family, and that spectrum, like I think it's important to talk about making these changes, because these little incremental changes of like changing the quote norm will set the path forward for our children, where they'll say, oh, I don't have to do it the way that it's always been done. I can just tweak this or tweak that and do things differently.
Yeah, and then get to a point where women in 20 years never even have to think twice about things like pay gap.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that I always like am sensitive of, because I've been like a leader of people for a long time, and I'm always constantly looking at what are the gender biases that might present themselves with salary. And sometimes I get people transferred to me from other departments, and oftentimes I see women who are like just chronically underpaid, you know, and I'll go to my leadership and I'm like, we need to do something about this. And usually I'll have to say, like, usually I eventually have to go to a man to get him on my side, you know, and get him to look at, but that's okay. There are advocates out there and champions for us as well.
And change only happens when people who aren't that minority are like, hey, this is wrong. You know, it's civil rights. You needed white people to come to fight for African Americans. Yeah. So totally. Same now, we need men also to fight for women. We do. Yeah, we will absolutely. Always. That's how change starts.
Yeah, that's totally how change starts.
You know, same homosexuality. You need people who are heterosexual to fight for you too.
Yeah, to be champions for that.
Champions for you, exactly.
Okay, well, I am really excited for you. I'm so happy that you're like bubbling over. I think it's adorable. Maybe send me some pictures or share like what Allie's reactions were when you took her to work.
Oh, I will. I always forget to videotape. Me, video person. I'm going to videotape her at work.
Yeah, I think that'll be so fun just to see what her perspective is.
Yeah, we have so many things to videotape. I keep forgetting to videotape her, and I got to do it because she's a fun age, but I'm like living too much in my present. So I don't videotape. I know it's crazy what I'm saying.
No, you need like a drone or something.
I do just something automatic, right? Because literally I'm very like my phone is never on me, so I never record. So I've got to really just start recording more of Alyssa. We do all this acting now, and she's the director, and she's got
Oh, so cute. Okay, so we'll wrap up this episode talking about moms going back to work and so many other things. Thank you, Lisa, and thanks to all our listeners for listening to this episode. We'll talk to you soon.